Hey everybody, it's Stephanie, the hands, heart, and hair of Cornerstone Create. How you doing? Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching this video. Let's jump right in on this card and get to making. So this is a pre-scored card base that I bought. It's been in my stash forever, so you might as well go ahead and use it. So when it comes to folding pre-scored paper, or just when you make your own scores and then you try to fold on that score line, you have part of the paper that has a bump, and then you have the part of the paper that has a valley. So you make the valley with your knife, and then the bump is on the other side. What I like to do is I flip that over and then fold, so that I'm folding with the bump facing me, and that just helps decrease the amount of cracking on your paper folds. Now this is what I've heard has been said to do the best, so you go on and go forth. Your mileage may vary. The paper that you saw me using earlier comes from the Holiday Bash paper pad by Recollections. It was a 6x6 paper, and I wanted the 12x12, but Michaels hasn't had a good hot buy sale. So as soon as they get a hot buy sale, I'm going to be on that. Yes, I will definitely be in there buying it. But I got this one. I think this paper pad is normally $6. And for what I use out of the 12x12, that's probably all that I need. But I just want the 12x12. With this next part, I cut the gold cardstock so that it would fit on the front all the way from top to bottom, but not from side to side. And I did this so that I could have a smaller piece of white cardstock and have all my decorations and my coloring and everything on the white cardstock, and have gold peeking out on the side. Dimensions wise, it was 5.5 tall and 3.25 wide, and then I cut some white paper down to 3 inches wide and 5 inches tall. So now I'm going to do some distress ink blending. I really don't use distress ink a lot, but I'm going to be. I like distress ink way more than I thought that I would. These are the inks that I got from the Stamp Scrap and art fair a couple of weeks ago, and those supplies, they have worked themselves right on into my everyday craft life. I love them. I start off using Mermaid Lagoon, and then I go into Blueprint Sketch. Now, I will say that I didn't like the way that this looked at first. I think Mermaid Lagoon is a much warmer blue than Blueprint Sketch, which happens to be a much kind of cooler blue. And I didn't like the way they looked with each other. So what I did was, after I got my Blueprint Sketch up there, I go back and I go over the blending area with Mermaid Lagoon. And that made it look way more even, and it made the colors just mix a lot better with each other. One thing about distress inks is that they're not hard to blend like a lot of people will have you believe. You just have to use the right paper, and that was my problem for the longest. That's why I stayed away from distress inks, because distress oxides, they mix on anything. They don't have any lines left in them that you can't blend and buff out. Distress ink definitely does, and I think that's why distress ink gets a bad rap. The paper that I'm using is mixed media Strathmore paper. It is the vellum surface, so it's super smooth, and that's how I got this super smooth blend, and that's how I did all this blending without getting any blend marks in my ink, and it is great. So definitely, when you blend with distress inks, make sure that you're using something that's smooth surface. Now I'm coming in on the side of my paper, and I'm going to do a little bit of direct-to-paper inking, and I'm going to use my Memento Nautical Blue and just use that same blending sponge, because that's the blending sponge that I use for just about all my blues. But I'm going to use that blending sponge, apply some ink, and apply ink to the sides of my paper just to give my paper a little bit of definition. Alright, so now I'm going to bring on my stamp press, and I'm going to put down my unicorn. So my unicorn comes from one of the first things I ever got from scrapbookpal.com. It was the Winter White unicorn set, and this was when I really didn't know a whole lot about ordering things online when it came to the stamping world. I was kind of really not for that life at first. I just figured if I couldn't get it in the store, then I'll just wait for it to come to a store. And I don't know what was wrong with me, because now most of my supplies are coming from online at this point. So I don't know, I guess maybe I was just a late adopter when it came to that. And I can honestly say that I'm one of those people who I'll order something that's like $200 and then I have to pay $7 for shipping, and I'm like, stop it. Whole cart thrown away because of $7. That's why I like shopping at Scrapbook Pal, because if you order anything over $25, and that when that's just so low, $25, yeah, yeah, I'm going to order things from your place, and I'm going to order all the things, and the shipping is going to be free at $25. So yeah, that's a lot better than, hey, order $200 worth of things and then you get free shipping. It's like, well, that would be great if I was going to get $200 worth of just one type of product or just all one brand. But, you know, like, I'm not going to do that, at least not at this current state of my status of my pocketbook. Like, I just can't do that. So Scrapbook Pal, I can order $25 worth of distress inks, tools, glue, Avriel stamps, Lawn Fawn stamps, and all of that, and just, hey, $25 stuff gets you free shipping. I mean, I'm for that life. Then I wound up ordering way more than $25 worth of things because I don't have to pay for shipping, and now that $7 that I'm not paying for shipping, I can pay $7 for more things, which honestly, because it turns into like $15 more, but I'm getting so much more now. Like, my math doesn't work out, but that's fine because crafter math doesn't have to work. Now I'm going to start coloring my drawing. I still have this on my press, and I am using my magnet to hold down another piece of scrap paper. That scrap paper is exactly what I was talking about when you want to use the right paper to do your ink blending. You see all that like craziness up there, all those dark spots in the lines from the blending foam? That's because that's just regular cardstock. It didn't have a super smooth surface. And I don't know why I didn't think about that before I cut it down to size and try to blend on it, because all this time I'm making myself feel bad like I'm a blend failure. And I know I'm not a blend, well, I guess I was a blend failure because I wasn't doing it on the right paper. So yes, look at the difference between my blend on that and then my blend on the media paper. Okay, so now I'm going to do some coloring. I'm not going into this with a specific color scheme in mind, except to kind of match my background paper. So my background paper had dark blue, some golds, and some lighter blues and greens. So that's going to be the color scheme that I go for with this unicorn. So yes, after I colored it, I might be being a little extra, but his hair kind of looks like the mint stripes from Colgate toothpaste. Like, that could just be me. Like, I don't know, I have these weird associations. But okay, so, and that's his hair. And then I wanted to color his scarf in a different color, but in working with the colors that I had, I'm going to just use my blues. So I don't know, when it comes to these colors that they have available at Michael's, I'm just not 100% satisfied with everything that they have at one time. So I mean, I still love the markers and I'm definitely going to be using them, but Scrapbook Pal has definitely been coming on with a lot of Copic sales, and since Copic is going to be going up at the beginning of next year, I think I might just have to go ahead and invest in me some Copics. So I don't know, we'll see how I'm feeling. I'm feeling a little saucy right now about it, like it might be a good thing, but I'm just not 100% sure. And you know, we'll see. We'll see if I come up with some Copics closer to the end of the year or the beginning of 2019. And now I'm just going to add in some shadows to my unicorn in places like underneath his hair, on the legs that are further away from the screen. And I'm going to start off using N2, but I think N2 is a little too light for me, so I wound up going with N3. I'm going to go ahead and cut off all that stuff at the bottom, just the perforated edges that come from being in the Strathmore book. Going to cut that off, and then I'm going to get into the water part of the distress ink. So just in case you didn't know, distress ink will give you this wonderful reactive look once you add water. And I just throw on some drops using my mini mister and just look at it. I make sure I let it up there for like 3 to 4 seconds just to make sure that it gets good and wet, and then I dab it off with a paper towel. Now for a look of depth, what you could do is you could just throw your water up there, let it stay on a couple of seconds, dry it off, then do the same thing and leave it on for some more seconds or less seconds, and that'll give you the wonderful look of depth. Like, you'll have some drops that are bigger, some drops that are more faded, less faded, more colorful, and you know, and just get you that really good snowy looking effect. Like, that's exactly what I was trying to go for here. So I like what I wound up getting. I just have to be careful next time not to get water on the white part that's not going to react with the ink, because it's not doing anything. but because it was only a small amount of drops, it really didn't affect the overall appearance of the white part. So I come in here using my Sakura white gel pen just to fill in spots and get more snow. At this point, I really wanted the effect of snow, and I was thinking about, what are my white mediums that I have? I have some Nuvo drops, I have this white gel pen, I have several white markers that I used back from when I was experimenting, trying to see what actually shows up as white on top of any kind of color. You'd be surprised to know that it's not very many things. This Sakura pen is about one of the few things that actually does show up white when you put it on top of something that's colorful. So now I'm going to go for my sentiments. I skipped showing you how I put the first sentiment down there, the all I want is, just because I didn't see how that added any value to showing you me fumbling around with my T-square trying to get this straight. So when you see me do it for the other stamps, it's the same process. Just make sure that when you get your stamps down, you get them down straight so that your sentiments aren't all crooked, and make sure that you space them apart enough so that they don't run in together, because I almost did that with those first two stamps. Didn't have to worry about it with the U sentiment because it was down there by the unicorn. In a second, you're going to see me put my Versamark down, and the pad is black. Yes, that was just me not being a careful crafter and being a careless crafter. And from the first time I put something black on my pad, I was just like, oh my goodness, I've ruined it, and I'll never do this again. And then it just kind of kept happening. So I only use this for doing heat embossing at this point. And because you put powder on top of heat embossing, and then the powder melts, you never get to see the blackish the blackish Versamark that's underneath it. But I implore you just to be a little bit more careful and mindful of these kind of things. So I'm also going to go in here and I'm going to do two different colors with my heat embossing. Now, Versamark doesn't dry that quickly. And I remember when I first started crafting that I thought my Versamark was going to dry up before I could get anything up there. No, it doesn't. You have enough time to put on two different colors and get them back into their respective color bins before it dries out. So the first one that I did, the U is in gold, and then this black embossing powder is like fine charcoal by Recollections. And I don't use black embossing powder a whole lot, but it does for whatever reason. I don't know what you have to do to make black embossing powder, but it makes it like super fine, and it also makes it like super, like, I don't know, reactive with air almost, because it gets everywhere quickly. So now I'm going to break out my Wagner heat tool and I'm going to melt that embossing powder, and it came out great. Like in real life, I just wish I could show you the sparkle, but the camera does not pick it up. But this fine charcoal from Recollections that I got at Michael's is great. It looks wonderful. I'm going to be using this on like a lot of my holiday cards now. So it looks the way that I want it to. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down, and that's going to be my card pretty much. I'm going to do a little bit of embellishments with some Nuvo drops just to go ahead and make that come out. So when I'm using my Nuvo drops, you see that I have this black piece of paper on this side. That's so one, I can see what my drops look like, and two, I can make sure that my flow through my crystal drops is coming out right, so that I don't get a big blob, because I lie not, if I were to mess this card up at this point after I've done all this work, I might would have cried. So this first drop that I'm using is Simply White. It's a glossed Nuvo drop. I'm just going to stick this down randomly, but I also like sets of 3. So I put down 3 dots wherever I put them down, except up in the upper right hand corner. So I think I do go back and add that later, just not on camera. So I didn't know how to just let the Simply White be Simply White. So I go in with dewdrops, and also I thought about sequins, but decided against it. And I'm glad I decided against sequins. Alright, so that's it for me, guys. I hope you liked the video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Leave me a comment. If there's anything you want to see me do, just let me know. I'm really here for you guys. I enjoy doing these videos. If you want to see me use anything specific, let me know. If I have it, I will go and I'll make you a card. Just let me know what it is that you'd like to see. If you go visit me on my blog, on my site right now. I have a new digital stamp up. It is a family of 4 that I could commission an artist to draw it for me, and I love it. She's great. So go run over there and see that. All right, y'all have a great day. Bye, y'all.